Deep in the mountains of Utah, behind razor wire and concrete barriers, sits a facility that consumes more electricity than 65,000 American homes. This is no ordinary building. The windows are bulletproof, the walls are designed to withstand electromagnetic pulses, and the security measures rival those of Fort Knox. Welcome to the most secretive data farm on Earth. Every second of every day, this fortress processes information on a scale that defies comprehension. The cooling systems alone require over 1.5 million gallons of water daily, more than entire neighborhoods use. The facility stretches across 1 million square feet of classified operations, housing supercomputers that can crack encryption codes and analyze communications from around the globe. It's a place where digital privacy goes to die, and most Americans have no idea it even exists. But this Utah facility is just the tip of the iceberg. Across the world, hidden in plain sight, massive server farms are reshaping how information flows through our connected planet. These are not the data centers you might imagine. They're secretive installations that operate under layers of legal protection, non-disclosure agreements, and government classification levels that would make intelligence agencies envious. The explosion of artificial intelligence has triggered an unprecedented construction boom in these digital fortresses. From the rural farmlands of North Carolina to the industrial zones of Inner Mongolia, companies and governments are racing to build ever larger facilities that consume staggering amounts of power and water. What's happening inside these concrete bunkers will determine who controls the flow of information in the digital age. These installations represent a new kind of infrastructure, one that operates largely beyond public scrutiny, despite their massive impact on local communities. Unlike traditional factories or power plants, data farms can transform entire regions while remaining virtually invisible to the people who live nearby. The only signs of their presence might be the constant humming of cooling fans, mysteriously high electricity bills, or the convoy of unmarked trucks delivering specialized equipment under cover of darkness. The secrecy surrounding these operations has reached levels that would make Cold War spy masters proud. Local government officials are routinely required to sign non-disclosure agreements before even learning basic details about proposed facilities. In many cases, these elected representatives cannot share information with the very constituents who elected them. Shell companies with names like Tapaha Dynamics or Project Cardinal obscure the true identities of the corporations behind these massive investments. The scale of these operations is breathtaking. A single modern hyperscale data center requires at least 100 megawatts of power, equivalent to the annual electricity consumption of over 400,000 electric vehicles. The newest artificial intelligence applications demand almost 10 times the processing power of traditional online services, creating an insatiable hunger for both electricity and cooling capacity. In Virginia's Loudoun County, residents have complained about the constant whirring of cooling fans and backup generators that run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The county has become the world's densest hub of data centers, transforming from rural farmland into a digital industrial zone that processes an enormous percentage of global internet traffic. Property values have soared, but so have utility bills as these facilities strain local power grids. The environmental impact of this digital gold rush extends far beyond electricity consumption. These facilities require enormous quantities of water for cooling, often drawing from the same reservoirs that supply drinking water to nearby communities. In drought-stricken regions, data centers can consume millions of gallons per day, while residents face water restrictions and rising utility costs. Yet for all their local impact, these facilities operate with a level of opacity that would be unthinkable for other major industrial installations. Freedom of information requests are routinely blocked by trade secret protections. Environmental impact studies are often classified or heavily redacted. Even basic details about employment levels, water usage, and energy consumption are treated as proprietary information. The competitive pressures driving this secrecy are intense. Companies view every detail about their data center operations as potentially valuable intelligence for competitors. The locations of facilities, their power consumption patterns, and their cooling requirements can reveal sensitive information about corporate strategies and technological capabilities. In this high-stakes game, information itself has become the most valuable commodity. Government facilities take this secrecy to even greater extremes. The Utah installation, officially known as the Intelligence Community Comprehensive National Cybersecurity Initiative Data Center, was built at a cost of $1.5 billion. Its mission remains classified, though public documents suggest it's designed to intercept analyze, and store vast quantities of digital communications from around the world. The facility houses supercomputers capable of breaking advanced encryption and processing information on a scale that was unimaginable just a decade ago. Text messages, phone calls, emails, financial records, travel information, and health data all flow through these systems. The implications for privacy and civil liberties are staggering, yet the operations remain shrouded in official secrecy. Similar facilities are being constructed by governments around the world, each pushing the boundaries of what's technologically possible while operating beyond the reach of traditional oversight mechanisms. China's data centers in Inner Mongolia span over 10 million square feet and can accommodate more than 1 million servers. The Chinese government's approach to these installations operates with minimal public disclosure requirements, allowing rapid expansion without the environmental reviews common in Western democracies. The companies and agencies behind these installations argue that secrecy is essential for both competitive reasons and national security. They claim that revealing operational details could provide valuable intelligence to foreign adversaries or corporate competitors. Critics counter that this level of opacity undermines democratic accountability and environmental protection. As we stand at the threshold of an artificial intelligence revolution, these secretive data farms are becoming the hidden backbone of our digital civilization. They process our searches, store our communications, and increasingly make decisions that affect millions of lives. Yet most people remain completely unaware of their existence or their growing influence over our connected world. The race to control these digital empires has created a shadow economy worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Behind the scenes, a handful of powerful players are quietly acquiring vast networks of these facilities, consolidating control over the infrastructure that powers our daily lives. These aren't just technology companies anymore, they're becoming the landlords of the digital age, collecting rent from every click, every search, every message sent across their networks. The money flowing through these operations is staggering. A single large-scale facility can generate hundreds of millions in revenue annually, processing transactions and data storage requests from clients who pay premium rates for guaranteed uptime and security. The profit margins are enormous once the initial construction costs are recovered, creating powerful incentives for rapid expansion despite community resistance. Local governments find themselves caught in an impossible position. The promise of jobs and tax revenue is tempting, especially for rural communities struggling with economic decline. But the reality often falls short of the promises. These facilities employ far fewer people than traditional manufacturing plants, relying instead on automation and remote monitoring systems. A billion-dollar data center might employ only a few dozen full-time technicians. The jobs that do exist require highly specialized skills that few local residents possess. Companies typically import workers from other regions, offering little benefit to existing communities beyond the tax revenue from property assessments. Meanwhile, the strain on local infrastructure, roads, power grids, water systems, often exceeds the financial benefits, leaving taxpayers to subsidize operations that generate enormous profits for distant shareholders. The global nature of these networks creates additional layers of complexity. Data processed in rural North Carolina might be stored on servers in Iceland, analyzed by algorithms in Singapore, and accessed by users in Brazil. This distributed architecture makes it nearly impossible for any single government to regulate or oversee these operations effectively. Intelligence agencies have recognized this reality and adapted accordingly. Rather than trying to control the entire network, they've focused on gaining access to key choke points where data naturally congregates. The Utah facility represents one such choke point, positioned to intercept communications as they flow between major network hubs. But governments aren't the only players in this game. Criminal organizations have also recognized the value of controlling data infrastructure. Underground networks of compromised servers, known as botnets, can be rented by the hour to launch cyber attacks, mine cryptocurrency, or steal sensitive information. These shadow data centers operate entirely outside legal frameworks, powered by infected computers in homes and offices around the world. The technical sophistication required to operate these facilities has created a new class of digital architects who design and manage these invisible empires. These experts command enormous salaries and wield influence far beyond their public recognition. They understand the vulnerabilities and capabilities of global digital infrastructure in ways that few government officials or corporate executives can comprehend. The The cooling requirements alone have spawned entire industries dedicated to managing the heat generated by millions of processors running simultaneously. Traditional air conditioning systems are inadequate for these applications, leading to innovative solutions like liquid cooling, underground installations, and even underwater data centers submerged in lakes and oceans. Some facilities have been constructed in former military bunkers, taking advantage of existing security infrastructure and electromagnetic shielding. Others are built into mountainsides or buried beneath layers of concrete and steel. The most sensitive installations incorporate Faraday cage technology to prevent electronic eavesdropping and electromagnetic interference. The redundancy built into these systems is extraordinary. Critical facilities maintain multiple backup power systems, duplicate network connections, and geographically distributed mirror sites that can take over operations within seconds if the primary location fails. This resilience comes at enormous cost, but ensures that operations continue regardless of natural disasters, equipment failures, or deliberate attacks. The psychological impact on workers in these facilities can be profound. Many employees sign contracts that restrict their ability to discuss their work even with family members. They operate in windowless environments under constant surveillance, processing information they're forbidden from examining or understanding. The isolation and secrecy create unique stresses that traditional workplace psychology barely begins to address. Security protocols at the most sensitive facilities rival those of nuclear weapons storage sites. Biometric scanners, armed guards, motion sensors, and classified clearance requirements create multiple layers of protection. Some installations reportedly maintain their own armed response teams and coordinate directly with military units for additional security. The environmental consequences of this digital arms race extend beyond energy and water consumption. The rare earth metals required for server components come from mining operations that devastate local ecosystems. The life cycle of server hardware is remarkably short, creating massive streams of electronic waste that contain toxic materials requiring specialized disposal procedures. Yet despite these mounting concerns, the construction boom shows no signs of slowing. Artificial intelligence applications continue to drive demand for ever more powerful processing capabilities, while global internet usage grows exponentially. The next generation of facilities under construction will dwarf even the massive installations currently operating, pushing the boundaries of what communities and power grids can sustain. The future of human civilization increasingly depends on these hidden digital fortresses, yet they remain largely beyond democratic oversight or public accountability. As we surrender more aspects of our lives to digital systems, understanding and controlling these installations becomes a matter of fundamental importance for anyone who values privacy, democracy, and environmental sustainability. The shadows cast by these digital monoliths stretch far beyond their concrete walls and razor wire perimeters. What we've uncovered here represents more than just massive infrastructure projects or corporate secrecy. These facilities embody a fundamental shift in how power operates in the modern world. Invisible, unaccountable, and increasingly beyond the reach of traditional democratic institutions. Every time you send a message, make a purchase, or search for information online, your digital footprint flows through these secretive installations. The companies and agencies that control them hold unprecedented power over human communication and commerce, yet they operate with less transparency than your local garbage collection service. This isn't just about technology, it's about who gets to shape the future of human civilization. The race to build these digital empires shows no signs of slowing. If anything, the artificial intelligence revolution will accelerate construction of even larger, more secretive facilities. Communities across the globe will face the same impossible choices between economic promises and environmental sustainability, between jobs and accountability, between progress and democratic oversight. Perhaps most troubling of all, we've grown comfortable with this arrangement. We've traded our privacy and democratic participation for the convenience of instant connectivity and algorithmic recommendations. But the true cost of this bargain remains hidden behind those windowless walls and non-disclosure agreements. The question isn't whether these facilities will continue to expand and multiply. They will. The question is whether we'll demand a voice in how they operate before it's too late to change course. The future of digital civilization hangs in the balance, and the decisions made in these secret data farms may well determine whether technology serves humanity or the other way around.